Hey guys, John V here from Phone Arena. You're watching our in-depth video review of the HTC Vivid. It's one of the first smartphones to feature 4G LTE connectivity for AT&T, just like the Samsung Galaxy S2 Skyrocket. But this guy here looks similar to the Evo 4G, the original one, just because of its overall styling, but manages to include a larger 4.5-inch QHD Super LCD panel. It also has things like the ability to shoot slow motion video 60 frames per second, and all this is priced remarkably at $199.99 with a 2-year contract. Checking out the HTC Vivid, it easily reminds us of the HTC Evo 4G just because it shares some common traits with its design. You could tell specifically with the beveled border around the device, looks very similar to the one we found on the HTC Evo 4G, and its size remains to be the same too. It's still a pretty large handset, but they managed to keep the bezel around the display to be very minimum, so it doesn't add any more of a size. Still weighty, constructed out of plastic. You have the glossy plastic combined with the stainless steel back cover. It gives a good sense of durability. Not the most best looking design out there, but it's decent for what it is. As I mentioned already, the HTC Vivid features a 4.5-inch QHD display, so that's 540 by 960 pixels. With that, produce some clear details, very easy to make out, especially with fine text in the web browser. Not a problem whatsoever. It utilizes a super LCD panel, which produces some deep color tones, very nice and eye-catching to the eyes. Not as saturated as Super AMOLED Plus, but nevertheless, it's definitely acceptable. Viewing angles are okay. It tends to wash out sometimes, and direct sunlight, very difficult to make out. As usual, the handset features the capacitive Android buttons below the display. There's good enough spacing between the bottom edge, which reduces accidental presses. Above the display, we find this long slit here for the earpiece, and you also have a front-facing 1.3 megapixel camera. Taking a peek on the left edge of the phone, we find the micro USB port for data and charging connectivity. It's also an MHL port, which allows us to get a mirrored experience with our HD TV. Again, we're reminded about the HTC Evo 4G just because the volume rocker and dedicated power button are placed in the same positions. They're exactly the same too with their feel, kind of flat, at least good responsive feel, and you also have a 3.5mm headset jack up top. Lastly, the handset features an 8-megapixel autofocus camera, dual LED flash in the back. You have the directional microphone right there. Removing the back cover, you just got to really slide it off like so. You gain access to its 1620 milliamp hour battery, SIM card slot, the micro SD card slot, and you also have the speakerphone grill right on top. Powering the Vivid, it's none other than a dual-core 1.2 GHz Qualcomm APQ8060 processor with 1 GB of RAM. It's actually a third-generation Qualcomm processor that's found in devices like the HTC Amaze 4G, so it offers a really nice platform experience. You could tell with most basic tasks, it's able to execute them with very minimal effort. For basic things, opening up applications, kinetic scrolling, it's more than efficient in its operation, and overall, definitely responsive in nature. AT&T customers will surely appreciate this just because the Vivid's the very first HTC smartphone for AT&T to feature Sense 3.0. Now, it's not the latest just because we know that the RIME has 3.5, but it's nonetheless deep with its personalization. There's a lot of stuff useful with it, like the various widgets, very interactive, and you don't have to go through the applications. You get everything directly in the home screen for you, which is nice. Deep personalization, of course, you have things like various scenes, you have even skins to select from, so there's a vast amount of things that you could do. On top of that, we definitely like the lock screen with it just because you could choose or select which one you want. For example, we have one here that shows all the albums on the lock screen, so you have that right for you. And all in all, it's a very refined experience. Thanks primarily to its large display, the messaging experience is going to be great just because the layout of the keyboard very spacious, and on top of that, more than responsive. The Sense keyboard has always been one of our favorite ones just because it offers a lot of stuff directly in the home layout here, like the numbers and even some punctuations. And of course, when you flip it to landscape, it's going to give you a better room for your fingers. Just like most other Android smartphones, the email experience is going to be fantastic just because with either the HTC email application or Gmail experience, it's going to be great because with the display size, you have a lot of room to view your emails. On top of that, there's less scrolling required just because of the ample spacing, and setup is a breeze. So we're pretty sure that some of you out there are probably wondering how great the 4G LTE network is with AT&T, but tell you the truth, we can't tell you right now just because we're not in an area that has coverage. It's available in small pockets throughout the country in markets like the Dallas-Fort Worth area and even Boston. Hopefully down the road in the near future, hopefully it's going to be expanded into even more markets. But right now, we're connected via HSPA Plus connections, and we're happy to say that it's a great experience still. Web browsing is a joy just because you could tell with its movement and operation, very responsive, pinch gestures, very quick, doesn't even stutter with flash content loaded as well. As far as the data speeds that we've been getting here with HSPA Plus, we're amazed too. We'll show you that really quick here, what we've been getting. Very impressive for HSPA Plus connectivity here, as high as 12.8 megabits per second with average upload speeds of 1.5 megabits per second. So it's really good, and we're just really curious to see how much better it's going to be with LTE. When it comes to listening to some tunes, we're greeted with the Sense music player, just like other handsets before it. Nothing has really changed, same layout and presentation. When you're playing a song, you have your album cover, track information, on-screen controls, and you also have the various widgets. There is enhancement here. You could choose to select SRS enhancement, which gives it a little bit audio clarity, and when you pop into headphones, it gives you even further equalizer settings. As far as the audio quality right now, it's good. It's not the strongest out there. It doesn't sound irritating. It's just right there in the middle. Combining its large display, high resolution, of course, the video watching experience is going to be awesome. The video we have here is encoded in MPEG-4, 1920 by 1080 resolution. So 1080p, good details, rich colors, smooth frame rate. So all in all, it's a good experience. HTC has been really serious about taking photos on their devices, and the Vivid definitely follows suit just because it features an 8-megapixel autofocus camera, dual LED flash, backside illumination, and f2.2 wide-angle lens to absorb more light in low lighting conditions. So what that translates all to some fantastic looking photos, especially in outdoors, produce some punchy looking colors, details are nice, tends to look over sharpened a little bit. Low lighting situations, there is a little bit of noise, and sometimes high exposure, which tends to make the overall image look a little bit more noisy, but nonetheless the LED flash does a great job in illuminating the scenery. Continuing to show off its camera-centric functionality, we definitely like the 1080p high-definition video recording found with the Vivid. Details are very sharp and clear. Tends to look a little bit over-sharpened, but it's definitely nice still. Moves at a frame rate of 30 frames per second, and the color reproduction is definitely spot on. Punchy-looking colors. It doesn't offer continuous autofocus, so you have touch focus. That's not too much of a problem. Unfortunately, the audio recording is a little bit on the distorted side. In low-lighting situations, it tends to look a little bit, pixelated. And there is a little bit more of digital noise and even artifacting going on. There is this mode where you could slow things down, do like the slow motion video, which is definitely nice, something you don't see too often. Definitely makes for neat effects, but it shoots only at 720p at 30 frames per second. On the other end of the line, our callers didn't have any issues hearing our voice just because they're greeted with some robust tones, but on our side, with the earpiece, not the strongest out there, kind of weak, and makes it difficult to hear our callers, and doesn't help when voices have a little bit of a hollowness to them. When you switch to using the speakerphone, it definitely is strong with its volume output, and voices are very boisterous, but it tends to sound a little bit on the squeaky side at the loudest volume setting. Seeing that we're in an area of high coverage, the device has great signal strength. It maintains a good amount of bars at all times. We didn't experience any drop calls during our testing. Initially, when we first started using the handset, we had some issues with the data connection. It seemed to be inconsistent. It would drop off, but after a while it started clearing up, and we didn't have any issues after that. So one of the biggest questions we have about the HTC Vivid is its battery performance under 4G LTE connectivity, because in our testing, we're not in an area that has 4G LTE coverage, but instead HSPA+. And in our time using it, we're able to get approximately 12 hours of normal usage for texting, web surfing, and occasional phone call. Meanwhile, we're able to get 5 hours and 45 minutes worth of talk time on a single charge, which is not that great, not that high, but better than the 4.6 hours rated by the manufacturer. Of course, we're just wondering to see how well it's going to perform with 4G LTE connectivity. And on top of that, there isn't no option or setting anywhere to allow you to specify which network you want to connect to, whether it be 4G LTE or just HSPA+. And of course, that can contribute to battery life. In an age where high-end smartphones are bountiful, it seems like every now and then we're hearing about some sort of high-end device being announced. The HTC Vivid might be underappreciated just because it might be overshadowed by some other handset. But honestly, the biggest thing going for this device is its $200 on-contract price, which easily blows away the competition when you look at Verizon, just because some of their devices cost easily $250, $300 a 2-year contract. The HTC Vivid is definitely well-rounded, great in taking photos and even videos. Styling might not be all that breathtaking, but nonetheless, it's still one solid handset. A lot of decent stuff going for it. And if you're in the market, if you're in an area that has 4G LTE connectivity with AT&T, this is a device that you probably want to take a look at as well. So if you'd like to learn more about the HTC Vivid, you can check out our website, phonearena.com. This is John V signing off. Thanks for watching, guys.